Hello, cruel world, and welcome to a trail running, fire blazing, put that shit out, Uncle Gary burnt the house down last week episode of the Days Grimm. My name is Brian Michael Day. What's up, dudes?
My name is Thomas Graham.
What's up, dude?
Not much.
What's up, world? What's up, listeners? How are you guys? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. You should have said what's up, subscribers, because we need people to like and subscribe on all the platforms.
Dude, we've gotten a lot in the last big jump on the YouTube. I think we got like 20 in like 2 days, man. So I was pretty pumped about that. So thanks for subscribing on YouTube. Keep it up. Tell your friends about us. Tell your Uncle Stacy about us. You know,
tell
whatever.
Your friends,
dude.
your ex-girlfriends.
Yeah, dude. They, hide your kids, hide your wife, dude. Dude, I'll tell you what, dude. Okay, so we record on Sundays, release on Tuesdays, so everyone knows. Today has sucked so much dong, dude. Like, I'm tired of being fucking old. I'm tired of being 32. I want to go back to 23 so fucking bad, bro. Like, I fucking woke up today. Dude, I woke up today and I had so much shit to do. I woke up, got breakfast with a friend for his birthday. Then after that, I had to fucking go lift. I lifted my shoulders, did some delts, dude. Got those baby dimps going, dude. Those dimple delts.
Yeah.
Fucking roll out of there, come home, mow the yard, wash the dogs. Dude, I'm fucking I'm worn out. Just fucking anxiety on hot. You showed up late today. Just like, Jesus.
Yeah, you like that? I did that just for you. I sat out back the whole time.
Yeah, so I just been super stressed out. Fucking, what do you got going on today?
Not shit.
Hit him with that intro.
Joining us this week in the Days Grimm studio is Michael Smith. How are you?
I'm doing great, man.
What's up, Michael? How are you, sir?
Tired like you.
Is your Sunday better than mine?
It's been good so far. Got my run in this morning, but
you did 5.6.
Yeah, 5.6 on the trails.
I did 2.6 on Saturday.
Have you ever ran on trails, Brian?
No, I fucking hate trails.
It's way different,
dude,
isn't it?
Yeah.
I ran enough trails in Afghanistan. I fucking hate trails, dude.
I could imagine. So flat ground running is boring as fuck for me. So
really,
yeah.
You like you run out here, dude. You get a lot of incline and decline out here.
I think Mike's thing is more like when we were talking earlier. It was you got to pay attention to where you step, or you're fucked up.
Yeah, cognition is like high.
Yeah,
you have
I've
to
got
like
some
use your brain.
ADHD, so like I need stuff that keeps me focused.
No, I can dig that. But yeah, it's not an easy. We had a guy in not too long ago that does a little bit of trail running.
Sam.
Yeah, Sam. I'm blanking on names day. He prefers to be called Samuel.
My bad.
Yeah, dude, square the fuck up. Get it together, dude. Is anybody else sweating right now? Is it just me?
It's hot in
Jesus,
here today.
fuck. Like hotter than two big bitches in a tub of butter, dude. I don't know, man. So anyways, give the folks a quick 2-second synopsis of
Everything you do.
Who are you, dude? Like if you were to just meet a stranger, what do you do for a living,
I'm
and what do you do?
Fucking normal dude, man.
What do you do for fun? What do you do for a living?
Yeah, I'm married. I got 2 daughters.
Sorry, ladies.
Yep. So I'm out of that circulation. I got a loving wife, some wonderful daughters. By trade, I'm a automotive technician.
And you've been doing that for a long time now.
Yeah, a little over 20 years. I fucking hate cars, but I make good money doing it, so that's what I do. Outside of that, I volunteer on a fire department. And also involved in a couple charities here in Evansville.
And then trail running now.
Yeah. I actually, a guy on EFD got me into that bastard.
Yeah, dude. So. I'm a road runner just because I my knees, hips, and ankles have just had the shit kicked out of them for way too long. So I'm nervous even when I go walking in the woods. I'm just if I hit a weird decline, ankle just gone. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But we were just saying.
She's a pavement princess.
Yeah, dude. I got those fucking weak baby ankles, man. I enjoy it though. So,
well, before we dig in too deep into you, Mike, we're gonna do this crazy death of the week.
Dude, suck my ass, dude. This thing is pissing me off today. Yeah, dude, we're gonna get into this DOT dub, and ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna be honest with you. This one's a little dicey. Also, we got some new music for you this week. Hopefully, this doesn't get flagged. Here we go. This week's Death of the Week brought to you by Corn Dog Development, these super sick coasters. Promo code Days Grimm will save you 10% of everything he has in his store. Check him out. He's fucking crushing it.
And he's got some new stuff going on Etsy, cutting boards and games and etc.
Yeah, dude. I thought I saw something on his page. He's making an all wooden stained stripper pole. Like, I don't know. Just get in there and check it out, man. He's doing some solid woodworking. So this week's Death of the Week, guys. This poor bastard. This article comes from September 30th, 2019. A long-distance trail runner competing in a weekend race in Kansas died after being struck by lightning near the finish line, race organizers said. 33 years of age, was approaching the end of the Flat Rock 50K near Independence, Kansas on Saturday. Again, this is from 2019. On Saturday, when the strike occurred. In an email, race director Carolyn Robinson described as an avid runner who was well known in the local racing community. The Flat Rock 50K... I got something going on back here. 50K began on a hot sunny day. Robinson told the station that organizers got word of a fast-moving storm just moments before it hit. Quote, "It was moments after that we got word that a participant had been struck by lightning," she told the station. Other runners administered chest compressions, but did not survive, the station reports. Quote, "Family says that the chances of being struck by lightning are about 1 in a million, and was truly a 1 in a million guy," end quote, race organizers said. A separate post said was added to the race's results as having completed the race, etc., etc. And the race has been going on for 25 years. Jesus Murphy, dude.
Could you imagine training for a 50K? Like, we trained for a triathlon, for like, a year, and it got canceled a week before. But could you imagine finish line in sight after all that training, and then out of nowhere, God just strikes you down?
They did mention in the story here, Mr. had made it through essentially the entire race, like they said, at the finish line, basically, and he was on hard pavement. Like, he was done. Like, he finished the race and then just was crossing the damn finish line and struck right before it. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, dude. So if I train that much for one, I may have told, like, the sponsors, hey, if I get struck by lightning today, just go ahead and drag me across the line dead.
Go ahead and bring that mic in a little closer, too. Don't be shy with it.
So I can finish,
Right.
And that thing's really limber, too. You can kind of move it and get it a little closer to you. There you go. Make it.
It's kind of a nuts article, too. Like, the family quote was really sweet.
The microphone's kind of phallic. When I'm bringing it into my mouth, it's not a natural. Yeah. That's not a natural thing for me. So.
No, for sure. You got to make it, it's uncomfortable. It kind of reminds me of when I went to county once. Don't drink and drive, ladies and gentlemen. And I have an honorable mention this week. May I? It'll only take a couple minutes.
Go for it.
So you're probably looking at this second tab up here, Michael. Let's talk about this guy right here. Trail runner who killed a mountain lion with his bare hands speaks for the first time. Do you know who I'm talking about? Have you heard of this guy?
I've read it, and I thought it was actually like a full-size mountain lion.
Right. It was a 30-pound juvenile.
Yeah.
30, 40-pound, but still, a 40-pound juvenile?
It's still,
So for the folks at home...
do some damage.
For the folks at home who don't know what we're talking about, in 2019, a gentleman by the name of Travis Kaufman was running a 12 to 15-mile training run. And he was mid-run. So he's like 8 miles in, and he's like in the woods. And essentially, 31-year-old Kaufman turns around. I love this quote. He said, "I turned around, quote, and I was pretty bummed out to see a mountain lion," said Kaufman, end quote. No fucking shit he was bummed out,
You know
bro.
what's funny to me is that
What the fuck, bro?
these long-distance runners talk just like stoners. You know what I mean? It's so funny to me.
I was
just
pretty bummed
I
out.
turned around and I was just
their
bummed
heart
out,
rate.
man.
They train enough to keep their heart rate down. So
Dude, but
They don't
yeah,
get too
so
excited.
this guy's not. He's smaller than me in stature, and I'm a pretty small dude. He's 5'10". He's a little taller than me. He's 1 inch taller. He's 5'10", 150 pounds, and wrestled a fucking 40-pound wildcat.
He said, "Hit the cat with sticks and a rock."
Yeah,
Did he kill it?
He choked it out. They found the carcass.
Oh, see, now that's
Yeah.
one of those things. Like I would have dragged that motherfucker to the end of the line with me like a friggin' trophy.
So, all right, I got to ask the Chihuahua question. Mike.
Yeah, so now that we've stumbled across this fucking conversation.
If you're locked in a basketball court like room and there's a bunch of angry Chihuahuas and they're trying to kill you, like a pack of them, and they're endless, kind of like Call of Duty Zombies, how many angry Chihuahuas do you think you can take on before they just overwhelm you?
I think it's just going to be more of an annoyance bite. Like, I think I could fucking kill all of them. It's going to take a while, and I'm going to come out with some damage from it. But what kind of fucking nightmares do you have where you're
a lot
thinking about this
but
shit?
No, here's the second part of it though, is how many squirrels?
Dude, squirrels are fucking mean.
I think the squirrels are worse than
absolutely.
the Chihuahuas.
Like, that's I don't know.
Because Chihuahuas won't climb on you. Like, I mean, they might if you like take it, like fall to a knee, then you're gonna get pounced on. But like, a squirrel will like straight up crawl up your leg pant
or jump from the ceiling.
Yeah, and they've got some gnarly teeth. So like when they bite you, they can do some serious damage.
They're gonna Randy Savage you off the fucking high beam.
Like,
risers,
they may end
dude.
up, if it's full of them, they may end up getting me.
Squirrels are nuts.
I'm telling you, bro, like squirrels are bonkers, and then also very closely related to the rat, which also kind of just grosses me out.
We ask a lot of people this, and they're like, I can take probably like 10, 12 Chihuahuas, and you ask squirrels, and they're like, I don't want one.
Yeah. Nobody wants no part of that shit.
Roll out, dude. I'm done.
Nobody wants no part of that.
Anyways, dude. All right, so let's start this shit show off, man. Now that we're done talking about death and fighting animals, so Mike or Michael, which do you prefer again? I forgot already. Dude.
Either or, man.
Let me call you Mike because it's just easier for me. So Mike, where were you born and raised?
So I was born in Taylorville, Illinois.
Illonesian.
Yep, and I grew up in actually a village of 400. So I lived out in the sticks in Illinois, Tovey, Illinois.
Damn, dude. Okay, so where'd you go to high school?
South Fork, which is Kincaid. It's like 2 miles over from the little village that I grew up in.
Were you in
real small school? I think there was 34, 35 in the graduating class. Total.
Yeah, that's about where. So I was actually just talking. We went and got breakfast this morning with Chad for his birthday. I was telling you, and I was talking to his parents about where my wife grew up. She grew up out in Bluford. No, Mount Vernon area.
Okay,
but outside, like way outside. But it's a village called Bluford, or a small town called Bluford. And her graduating class was like 20 or 30. But they like did a weird thing where like K through 12 was just like all in one building, and it was like 140 kids. Like from kindergarten to fucking graduating.
It was all one school.
It was one fucking building, dude. We had like 3 or 4 rooms. I was like, what the fuck?
We had a grade schooler in elementary, and then the high school was just like kind of diagonal from there. But I mean, our whole entire high school probably maybe had like a little over 400 kids in it. And
yeah, that's crazy.
It's crazy to think about that. And like my daughter's class, so she goes to North now, and she's got over that just in her class alone.
What grade is she in?
She's a freshman this year.
Freshman. I actually found out that there is a difference. I didn't know this actually until we had that same conversation with Chad this morning with his parents. There's a difference between a junior high and a middle school. Did you guys know this?
Is a junior high only 7th and 8th?
Yeah, I did not know that. And North is a junior high. Right. They only do 7 and 8 before they go to high school.
Yep.
But a middle school is typically 6, 7, and 8, which is weird for me. I didn't know there was a difference until like I'm 32 years old and just figured this out. You know what? I'm so stupid.
What did you do?
Well, you don't know what you don't know, man.
Yeah,
you know?
dude. I don't know.
Did you do athletics through high school?
Yeah, I did. I was football, basketball. We didn't have baseball in high school, so we had consolidated. But I didn't go.
Were you always tall, or were like when you played sports? Were you tall then?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think my freshman year I hit 6'2", and I think I was around maybe 160 or so, 160, 170, somewhere in there. So,
and as a freshman,
yeah,
that's fucking monstrous.
Yeah, so I was tall.
That's huge. I was 6'2" as a freshman.
Yeah,
Who's your dad?
Pretty much my height.
Shaquille O'Neal.
My dad's
Jesus.
My dad's actually 5'7".
Wow,
that fucking pisses me off, bro. My dad is like 6 foot.
How tall was your milkman?
See, my mom's actually taller than my dad. She's 5'9", but my great grandfather's like that's where I got all my height from. Like
skipped a
like,
generation.
they're over 6 feet tall.
Was he a globetrotter or something? Or
No, they're all fucking laborers, man. You know,
That's
coal
insane
miners,
to me,
Hard
dude.
working.
Dude,
farmers and shit.
What I was gonna say is my dad is 6 foot. His brother is 6. So Corey's dad is 6'5", 6'6". Fucking just large human beings, right? Like not massive, but large. And I'm 5'9", like 5'8 3/4. You know what I mean? Like, fuck you, dude. I mean, fucking mad about it.
It's nice. I mean, it has its advantages, but there's also some cons that come with it too.
Yeah.
Like, if fucking hit my head on shit. Like, I'm working on cars constantly. You know, like
Dude, you need like a little chimpanzee under there, like me, dude.
A little extra foot on the
Yes.
list.
Yes.
So,
damn.
I guess for the people that don't know, you kind of got in trouble. Was that like in high school, after high school? Like, I'm just saying, like there was.
He was like, "Hey, man, tell the people about how you got charged with
Well, no,
murder."
I'm just saying, like post high school to like into the
Yes,
mechanic
Jesus.
career, there was some wildness. You know, like a small town kid going to a big city.
Well, I said earlier, like, there was 30-something odd people in my graduating class. Well, I didn't really have a graduating class because I got booted from school.
Oof.
So I got booted from school my junior year. I went through.
Oh, like expelled?
Yeah.
Jesus, what'd
Yeah.
you do? Did you murder somebody?
You know, I had problems.
We don't have to get into detail if you don't want
Yeah,
to.
I mean, the crazy stuff is like I come from a great family. Like, I had a great, mom and dad.
Religious, like growing up?
Not really. I mean, they were
I only asked.
considered Catholic, but they weren't like. I mean, we went to church on Sundays and stuff like that. Yeah, I kind of rebelled. Just like normal teenage stuff. Got into drinking and smoking pot and that kind of shit when I was
Dude,
young.
that's like
And
everyday shit,
it,
dude.
It kind of took off. I
not even
kind
that
of went.
bad.
It was weird because I could hang out with the jocks. I hung out with like all of those people, but I also hung out with the stoners and kind of the
middleman crowd.
The partier people were all the party
Oh,
favors.
yeah, for sure.
Were and hung out with a lot of older crowd people. So
Did you get into mechanics like when you got kicked out of school, or what did you do before that?
No, man, I kind of jumped around. I couldn't really hold a job because I was just terrible about. I drank and partied so much, so like I couldn't fucking hold a job.
Be out till
for
4
shit.
a.m.
Yeah,
and sleep in.
I'd last for a while, and then I'd just stop showing up, or I'd show up late, and they're just like, "Dude, you got to go." You're fired,
What made you pick? What made you pick cars?
Well, I had bounced around from town to town, and a guy that was dating my sister at the time, I had moved in. I was actually homeless for a while, and I had moved in with them, and he's like, "Hey, man, I'm going to go to this community college automotive program." She's like, "Why don't you do it with me?"
Right.
And he was kind of looking for direction in life. He didn't really know where he wanted to go, so I was like, I didn't have nothing going on. I was like, "Fuck it, I'll do it." So I started doing that, and while attending that class or those classes, I got a job at an alternator battery starter shop, rebuilding alternators and starters, and that was kind of my first kind of foot in the door to automotive, mechanics. So, and then I ended up progressing from there to an aftermarket shop that, kind of like you guys got like what is it, the Pep Boys around here,
Right.
Oh yeah.
It was like a muffler, brakes, basic stuff, not really a bunch of drivability. And
Do you think
heavy engine work.
do you think you started to like it because like I find like with my job, like I'm a jeweler by day, so like yeah, although I'm working on rings every day, or like you're working on cars every day, like every car is a little different, like it's the same job, but it's not the same job over and over.
Right. So the aftermarket world was a little bit different, because you got all makes and models that you're dealing with.
Right.
But my essential goal was to get into a dealership because I knew that's where the money was.
Which is where
Really?
I met you.
Yeah.
So you're better off at a dealership than you are like working for Elliott's down the road, like a proprietary shop.
Just because the money's there's more money in a dealership than there is in the aftermarket world.
Damn.
Unless they're a really big aftermarket automotive shop, and they really got a ton of business coming through.
Okay.
There's just more money in the dealership world.
So were you still partying and stuff as a mechanic when you first started?
Oh yeah. So I ended up dropping out of I got on with the aftermarket shop, and then I applied. There was a couple openings at a Chevy dealer in Springfield, Illinois. That's where I was living at the time.
Central Illinois.
Yeah.
Damn,
we really
dude.
liked Springfield, or
Middle of the state, dude.
Yeah, it was a nice little city. But yeah, there was a.
How big is that compared to Vanderbilt County, like the Evansville area? You know what I mean? Are
so
they
that's
comparable?
Sangamon County in Illinois, so it's comparable. They've
Couple 100,000 or like
it's
100,000?
like Evansville, and then you've got the county towns that are kind of surrounding it
Outside of it. Yeah.
So it's kind of similar, and it's roughly the same in size. It's about 200,000. I think is the population. It may be more now. I haven't been there in a long time. But
Are you doing Red Bull and tequila?
Yeah, dude, the Jimtown drop.
it's a strange
Is that what that one
fucking
was?
combination,
Yeah,
bro.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
It's Terramana, Red Bull, and lemonade. It's like my shit.
So the Dwayne The Rock Johnson came out with a tequila company, and we I think he came out with it a couple years ago, but we just got it in town like this past year, like 2022, 2021-ish.
And I'm not even a big drinker, and I'm
but
addicted
like,
to
yeah,
it.
I've got a clear, like I've got a Blanco over here somewhere. And
It's down here.
okay,
The
and then-
Blanco.
okay, and here's the Blanco. And that's the Rock's tequila
And
company.
then they have a Respidosa.
Yeah, and that's the one that you bought.
Yeah, which is aged in an oak barrel. And then they have a Nino, which is aged in a whiskey barrel.
Which is interesting. I want to try. That was the one that was like
It just came out,
$70, right?
yeah.
So what's
No, it's like
Dwayne
50.
fucking charging for that?
The Blancos are like $35,
And it's smooth as hell too.
And
So that's not terrible.
same with the the darker one, the oak barrel one,
Yeah, yeah,
and then the one aged in a whiskey barrel is like $48.
Yeah,
But-
sorry, not to derail the conversation, but I was just like watching you dump the rest of a damn Red
I
Bull
already
in
cut
it.
myself off until I get home. I'm just pouring the
Yeah,
Red
you got to
Bull in there.
drive, dude. All right, but anyway,
But it's good.
so Springfield it is. And what
you
was
were-
the name of that county? Just out of-
Sangamon.
Sangamon. That's that's
Such
got to
a
be
weird
like
name.
Yep, I grew
Native
up in
American or
like
something.
my hometown's Christian County, so it's just a.
You ought to tell them about
county.
lottery winners in Illinois.
Oh, dude, he already fucking knows. You know, state lottery winners don't get paid. You have,
Well, because
there's like three
because
or
Illinois is a shit show.
there's like 3 or 4 state winners from outside of Chicago. From outside, I don't know about. I can't speak to winners in Chicago, but there's several that live outside of Chicago that have not been like paid their full or whatever. Like, say they took the lump sum and like they didn't get it all or any of it. Like
That
the
somehow
state
doesn't
is
surprise
fucking
me.
broke.
Yeah,
I feel like they need to cut Illinois in half and just have Chicago and then the rest.
Yeah,
It should be like North and South Illinois.
when we moved from there, it was kind of it was starting to. I mean, we're all downstaters, so we get like
Yeah.
everybody thinks when you say
You're
from
belly
Illinois-
buttoning down, dude.
when they say you're from Illinois or they ask you and you tell them you're from Illinois, they just assume Chicago,
Right.
And we're
That's funny you say that because if around here, if you say you're from Illinois, they're like, "Oh yeah, you're from less than here.
Right.
you're from like more cornfields and less people."
yeah.
But if you're like going up by like Terre Haute or like Indy, and you say you're from from Illinois, then they're like, "Oh, fucking
so-
Chi-town over here."
Did you meet your wife in Illinois?
Yeah, I met her in Springfield.
so when
actually,
you were-
actually at the dealership that I ended up. So after I left the aftermarket shop, I got hired at the
Because that's
Chevy
really when
dealer.
you started to like clean up a little bit, right?
Yeah. I started kind of because I was bad into some hard stuff back then, but so I got on in with the Chevy dealer. I actually quit the automotive technology program because my end game was to get in a dealership anyways.
Right.
So once I got my foot in the door, I was like, well, fuck.
What do I
You know,
need this for?
I don't need to go there and get
Right.
this.
Yeah, there's no need to keep going.
I mean, don't get me
book
wrong. I probably should have continued just so I had that associates.
I find that like so with
or bachelor's. I was going
first
for a
off,
bachelor.
college is kind of it's kind of a fucking, I want to say joke, but you can learn a lot in college. Like, you're not going to learn physics out on the street. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, You're not gonna get.
You can learn chemistry on the streets.
You're not gonna be a fucking doctor, is what I'm saying. You know, growing up on fucking the south side of Evansville with no college. So there is there's a benefactor to going to college for certain jobs. I feel like my advice to the younger listeners, if you're like 20 or younger listening to this show and you're hearing him talk about quitting school, it's not the worst thing ever, because jobs that you need practicality, like practical application of tasks, you're almost better off like joining a union, going to a trade school versus college, or just getting on the job training, I feel like.
Right.
And you know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what you're explaining, is that like, why did I need to continue taking on debt or paying for college when I'm like getting everything that I need and I already got the job that I want?
Exactly.
So
yeah, so they had that community college program, and I was only really interested in the automotive technology portion of it. I mean, I had to take other classes to get my applied science degree or whatever the hell it was, which I wasn't interested in at all. I knew I was going to be a laborer. Like, I've always just, before the automotive stuff, I had various jobs in construction and shit like that. So,
did you enjoy those?
Yeah, I did.
So you're like a handsy guy, like
I figured out kind of at a younger age that I was, I was good. I mean, I come from a family of laborers, anyways. So my dad is.
You said that about your great grandfather as well.
Yeah, coal miners. My grandfather on my dad's side was Army. He owned and operated a farm for like 50 years before him and my dad retired. And on my mom's side, Navy was my grandfather. So, and he was a coal miner.
Okay, and shout out to all the seamen out there, dude. We just had one on not too long ago by the name of Sam. What's his last name? Help me here. The linguist from your brother's bookstore.
Sam Adams.
Sam Adams. Are you sure?
Yeah.
God, I'm so bad with last names. I will remember Michael. I won't remember Smith. It is Smith, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I won't remember Smith. Yeah. But yeah, Sam. He was
an Arab linguistics in the Navy.
No experience in the art of language at all, like throughout high school, but joined the Navy, and they were like, "Hey, you scored really high on this test. We want to send you to be a linguist." To learn Arabic or Pashtun or Pashtunwali or whatever dialect he learned, but he picked it up in 2 years.
And then he switched from there to the NSA.
He learned it in 2 years and he's fluent. He could hold a conversation in 2 years.
That's impressive.
I took fucking 6 years of Spanish, which is basically shitty English, and I still can't speak it. You know what I mean? Or not? It's a classier English. Let me say that. It's like more. Their adjectives and their nouns and their verbs are so much more like descriptive. And like, so it is a classier English. I can't speak it. And I've taken 6 fucking years of Spanish. And this guy took Arabic, arguably way more complicated.
Less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years. And he's like, yeah, dude, what do you want to know? I'll write a book. I'm like,
that's crazy.
It's pretty
so smart. He's co-owner with his brother.
Yeah, at your brother's bookstore.
What's his brother's name?
There's anyways. Sam Adams, and then there's...
Was it Michael? No.
And it's not Mike. It's something else, Adam.
I can't remember. But yeah, he's a great dude. He owns one of
your brother's bookstore on
Yeah,
Main
but
Street.
they're a... what do we call them? A boutique? They're one of only 2 bookstores like what they have in Evansville. They're a really cool group, so check them out downtown, guys.
So what makes you move to Evansville from Illinois?
So like I said, I met my wife at the Chevy dealer. She was engaged. I had a live-in girlfriend of like, we're off and on toxic relationship for like 7 years. So
what does that mean? A living girlfriend? Like as
she was like she moved out. It was a fucking crazy relationship.
It's like a constant back and forth.
It sounded bad.
We lived together. We were more like roommates, but anyways. So my wife was engaged to some other dude, or my current wife was engaged to some other dude. So she was that had that going on, and of course we cheated on our significant others with each other, and then we just
stayed together.
We just stayed together for then. So we got our first house up there. Had a daughter, and my dad had retired, and they were moving down to Florida. So I had some immediate family still in the area, but we weren't really that close to each other.
Okay.
And her family is actually from Bridgeport, Lawrenceville, so it's kind of on the border, like the Wabash area there near Vincennes.
Oh, okay.
Small town on the other side of Vincennes, on the Illinois side.
Okay.
So since we had a young daughter, she wanted to be kind of closer to her parents, just in case we needed them and stuff. And she was familiar,
for sure.
She was familiar with the Evansville area, and by that time, I had already became an ASE master certified and got my GM General Motors World Class certification.
Basically, all your mechanic certifications that
correct. I had reached the top level of certification. Level at the General Motors dealership world. So I could pretty much go anywhere and get a job at any, GM dealership. So I started looking for stuff down here and found a job that turned out to be bunk. The fucking service manager lied to me about how much work they had in there. It was like a fucking ghost town. But we moved down, we moved down here in 2011 and it was like housing market was shit, so we lost a fucking ton on our first house. Right. So it was kind of a rough start, here in Evansville, but we liked it.
Yeah, and then I just remember when I met you, one of the first few times at Romaine, you got metal music playing, and a lot of people, Mike's a big dude, you know what I mean? And you got metal music playing, and like all these people are like not afraid, you know what I mean? But like young kids in the detail department or whatever, and you got like this big dude, like master mechanic, slinging out jobs,
freaking out to goat whore. Are you a goat whore guy?
I don't even know who that is.
Do you like Cannibal Corpse?
I'm not a death growl metal kind of guy. I do like metal.
It's the high pitch metal. So like it's not the it's the yeah. That metal.
Gotcha.
Cannibal Corpse, they're sick. Check them out.
Okay.
But do you like Under Oath, bands like that? Under Oath,
dude. I'm so fucking stuck on '90s. Like that's my
what's
my
your
shit.
go-to? Like '90s what? Like what's a big band?
I mean, punk rock's been pretty much my entire life through adolescent, teenage.
Okay. So you're a fucking liar. He wasn't listening to metal. Jesus.
I do listen to. I mean, there's a ton of Pantera. Fucking huge Slipknot fan.
Fuck with Pantera. Rest in peace, Joey. Arguably one of the greatest drummers of our generation.
Phenomenal. And watching him perform live.
What are you, 33?
I'm 42.
You're 42? Yeah. Okay, you look 32. So you look younger than me, I think.
Yeah, when you were talking about being old and shit earlier, and like 32, I'm like, this motherfucker. He doesn't even know yet.
Dude, I could have told you I'm 46, and you'd be like, yeah, that checks out, dude. No, but I'm 32, so I kind of started a little bit later music-wise than you, but yeah, it's Slipknot, huge, Pantera, huge, Cowboys from Hell, fucking rain metal, dude.
But I was just going to say the drive, like working at the detail, in the detail shop or whatever, but then seeing this like big scary dude, I was like, what? I was young, I mean, it's like 18, 19, what I mean? And like metal music
fucking
playing,
28 freaking out to fucking Pantera.
But he knew his shit right from the rip, you know what I mean? And like,
that's awesome.
Like also like, like the come up story from like, the drugs, the partying and all that to like getting clean and sober and like learning a craft. And then like, from there, like, what made you volunteer to be a firefighter?
Yeah, so I mean, you kind of skipped a little bit there.
Yeah, I wanted to pump the brakes real quick. Let me just pump the brakes on your question. We'll come back to it. Okay. My question for Thomas is, what was your first encounter like with Michael?
Dude, this dude was a big, scary guy. You know what I mean?
What was the conversation like? Like when
I don't know if I even said much to him.
No, because you don't in a dealership. There's kind of like you got the technicians, and we have to operate kind of with the service advisors, but we don't really talk that much with detail, just because we don't really need to have that interaction with them that much. And I get it all the time, like I'm intimidating, but like.
One of the coolest.
The job is stressful. The job is stressful. Cars can be temperamental, and and it's
cumbersome.
Yes, the dealership's a very fast-paced, production-based, job. So you're constantly, you don't get just paid to be there by the hour, right? So we're flat rate. So it's kind of like a commission. So we get paid off of the book time off the job.
Yeah.
So you're constantly rotating through cars, and you're trying to, move through them as fast as you can. And I had a little bit of a, I'm a really kind of sarcastic and just kind
like
of an
a
overall
slight temperament, but not
Yeah.
not like in a like constant temperament, just due to like the job, I would say.
Like, dude, I hear
you had your
I
days
hear
where
it
you
all
were-
the time. Like, dude, you look pissed off, and like I am not pissed off, but my face just must go to like a pissed off look.
I'm just listening to Pantera. Leave me alone.
Right. So I think people, I don't know if they thought I just wasn't approachable.
I think you're very approachable, but I've met a lot of scary dudes, man. So like, I don't consider myself very intimidating. I like to laugh a lot. I have like I don't know, man.
I would say there was a lot of good,
But I can
a lot
get
of good guys at the shop. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a lot of people that had been through some shit, but like also knew their shit. They were on top of their shit. Like, and it was all around just like an interesting learning environment. Like looking back on it now, you had like an old dude that probably came from an Amish background, like, and then you got like young prodigies that like are masters of like what Subaru and like, like it's interesting.
They're just
to
drinking a
see.
lot of coffee and they're going on a lot of hikes and shit. And they got like a fucking lab doodle or something. I don't know. Whatever a dude that drives a Subaru does.
Mechanics are just about like every other trade. Like you get a mix of different personalities in there, and like the dealership that you worked at with me, the one that I'm at currently,
Right.
like it's a different.
Did we say where you're at
No,
currently?
no,
we're
do
not
you
gonna
want
say.
to? No, we don't want to.
Yeah,
Okay,
we'll leave
it out.
that one out.
Okay, that's fine.
But
it's GM.
it is honestly the best dealership I've ever worked for.
No, good for you.
But the
man.
dynamic back there is completely different than the other dealerships I've worked at. Like the one I met my wife at, and like she used to call it it's like fucking WWE back there because like.
Just choke slamming.
Oh,
each other.
dude, people would be yelling at the service managers. The service manager would be yelling at the fucking technicians.
They're like, fuck you,
technicians would be like almost to like fights back in there. Like there was there was one younger kid that used to give this really fat mechanic. He was like really a fat slob, just kind of he wasn't a good mechanic, he wasn't.
So we can talk shit about him is what we're getting at. So fuck
absolutely.
this guy.
This younger kid was just like on him like all morning, man. And we were in parts, just like kind of like, trying to get estimates through and stuff. And he just kept on this dude. And I won't say his name, but he pinned this younger kid like up against the wall, like through the drywall, like broke the drywall.
Damn.
And was just like choking him out. Right. And it's like, that's usually a fireable offense, right? Like you put hands on somebody, that's like, you're gone.
Let it run.
Bro, they suspended him for a day. That was it. That's all I got of it. That's all I got of it,
He's probably fined for the
That's a
higher
fucking
flat
win,
rate
dude.
Yeah,
job.
that place was like one of the craziest dealerships I had ever worked at. But that was like my intro. So I just assumed like, oh, I guess this is just how it is.
Right.
Damn.
Right. But then I came down here and it was just kind of like a whole new environment. But I mean, you got like some mechanics are really shade. Like, they're placed in every area. Like there's some shady
Right. The type of
some
mechanics
some
that's
shady
still an eighth
mechanics
from your glove box.
that are like, my age now, like still doing fucking drugs and
They're making meth in the basement.
Yeah, they're
or in the shop or
ripping
whatever.
off customers. But if you got a good dealership, they tend to weed them out of
Right.
it.
So I want to. So before Thomas jumped way ahead in the timeline.
I
so
got excited.
so what happens? What happens in the transition from? What's that middle ground from like, okay, like I am a mechanic and I'm damn good at it, to volunteering on the fire department? What happens in that middle time frame?
I just it wasn't like I had like a void in my life, but I felt like I needed to do.
And you've already met
more.
your wife at this point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we had been down here for 3 years. Purchased our first house here, and so we had been in it for a little bit, and it was out in the McCutcheonville area.
Okay.
And my father was really, he still is. He's very involved in community and volunteering. So is my mother. So just kind of seeing them do that. My dad was actually a volunteer fireman for the small town that we lived in. I was really young when he was on that, but he always donated his time to help teach baseball, coach baseball, and stuff like that. So he was really involved in the community in that aspect of things. So I was like, I'm kind of settled down now. I've got my shit together.
We're not drinking or doing drugs anymore.
We're still drinking,
but not doing drugs.
We're still drinking. We've dropped all the drugs and that kind of stuff. So, I literally drove by Station 5, out there every day to go to work. And one day, I just kept driving by, and they had these, volunteer signs. Hey, if you're looking to do volunteer, come see us or whatever. And
yeah.
And I'm like, just like out of the blue, I just drove by it every day. And one day I was just like, all right, well,
let's see what's up.
I was like, I'm thinking about filling out an application, to volunteer for the local fire station.
Walk me through that. What's that process look like? Like, how does it? So we have our viewership is like anywhere from like 20 to like 40s ish is our primary like age group. So maybe we have some folks out there that are like, they've thought about firefighting or like volunteering. Maybe it's something they always wanted to do, but volunteering is a good way to start. So like, what did that process look like?
So, I just basically got onto there. They had a little link to their
apply
to their website. Yeah. To fill out an application. So I got on the website, kind of, reviewed they had on their website, what their history was and stuff like that. I didn't really know what to expect. But I just got on there and filled out the app and, sent it through. And they gave me a call like a week later to come in to do like an interview.
Okay.
So there was like a little interview process with their membership committee. And then once that all went through, then they just, kind of told me to start coming up to the station.
There's not like a physical activity thing you got to pass?
There's a PAT, which is a physical agility test. And it varies, from department to department, especially on the volunteer side. Career, it's CPAT, so it's actually a CPAT. Like you got to go get this card, your CPAT card, and that's a more strenuous.
Is that like life-saving stuff, right? Like
it's basically just
CPAT.
It's set up of a bunch of different stations that kind of simulate the stuff that you're going to do as a fireman, and it's timed.
Okay.
So you have a certain time you have to
carrying hoses, climbing ladders,
like dragging a dummy, crawling through a confined space.
Have you seen some of those firefighter competitions where they see like how fast they can move like 15 buckets up a like 2-story building?
Yeah, they got a hose carry. They're like up 4 floors, and then the hose hoist with the rope all the way up, and then you got the Kaiser sled with the sledgehammer, and it simulates like swinging an axe and stuff like that. And dummy drags.
So what was like one of the first like calls you got to go on, like one of the first volunteers scenarios?
So I mean, they just you needed to get certifications to really do anything. So fire-based EMS is huge now. So like around like 85% of our calls are EMS,
which is just emergency medical service.
Yeah, medical services. So you had to get certified and everything. So the first thing I went through was like CPR training. So we had to have a CPR card, and that allowed us to go ride the engine and go on calls. We couldn't necessarily do anything, but we could kind of like hand the certified firefighter stuff. And we could kind of get used to like how everything runs,
the flow of things.
Yeah, how it actually works. So started off doing that, and I went on some basic medical calls, but then I went through the EMR, which is the Emergency Medical Responder certification.
Getting a little more in detail.
Yeah, so that was like a 6-week class.
Like stopping bleeding type stuff.
All of it. It's basic life support.
Okay, neat. I like that.
So, basically, we deal with trauma, kind of medical calls, and just anything. I mean, in the county, we get a lot of falls. I
have to say that in the infantry, so like you're your own first responder. So when your buddy gets shot in the neck, like you're the one that before the medic gets there, like you got to know what is going on.
Right.
So like that was my favorite part about the infantry was like getting my finger in a fucking bullet hole or something. I liked that aspect of it. So like I've always been intrigued by medical, and that's actually why I went to school for what I went to school for. But either way,
it's down and dirty, man.
Yeah,
it's down and dirty. Like
it's very hands-on.
You got to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, like you and I,
everybody's gonna die.
I'm very hands-on too. Like I play guitar. I like to do things with my hands. So
that's what sucks about me is because like I would love to go to the military. I would love to firefight. I would love to do I would love to do these type of things. But like I physically pass out at the sight of blood. I do.
He's so soft,
and I have ever since middle school. But like I wanted to sign up for the military. I would love to go on a firefight. I wouldn't mind going in a burning building or putting a fire out. But like you see somebody with their toe cut off, like I'm on the ground.
And it was one of those things where I didn't really know. I mean, they kind of give you an indication of what you're going to be responding to during the medical certification class. And you see kind of pictures of stuff, but you don't really know how you're going to react to it out in the field.
When you got to put hands on it.
When it's real stuff, when it's real, when you're in the shit. So, I think one of my first calls, because we would go, the guys that were in my recruit class, so we went through some driver's training and we got cleared on the brush truck. So, we wanted to make runs, and one of us was cleared to drive it. So all three of us would stay at the station, sometimes on the weekends. And I think we got toned out at like 3 a.m. Of course, I'm like assed out on the couch, like, and I didn't even hear the call go off. Like that's how dead to the world I was. They woke me up, and so we go on it. And actually, my first, like, us without any other personnel, like being first on scene, was actually a call for suicide.
Damn, that's ugly.
And it was gunshot.
That's ugly.
It was pretty gnarly. So
the one question I have now that we're talking about like you sleeping through the tone or whatever, what is, because I'm ignorant to volunteers. I've spoken with a lot of, like, we've had an ex-police officer on, we've had a firefighter on. Very familiar with like the active duty, if you will, active duty guys,
the career
like,
guys.
What's the difference between the like daily service? Like, where were you said you were asleep on the couch, but like, were you at the firehouse? Or
we were at the station.
How does a call work? Or like with your mechanic job, like how do you balance these two? What does that look like?
Essentially, while I'm at work, I'm so far away from our response area. Like, unless we have like a big, like 3-alarm fire, I'm probably not going to leave work for anything else. And we're a combination department, so we have career staff that are there while the volunteers are at work. So we have personnel there that make all the calls during the 8 to 5 hour. But after about like 6 o'clock at night, that's when the volunteers are they're at home. We have pagers at home, so when a call comes out, our pagers will go off. And we'll respond to it.
And you got a little light in your truck.
Yeah. So we can, once you're a voted member, because you do a year of probationary period, in which you got to get all your certifications and stuff like that.
All that medical stuff,
which is similar. Yeah, it's similar. It's similar to the career process, but different. Because we all have our paid jobs outside of volunteering. But yeah, sometimes, like the younger guys that don't have families and stuff, they'll stay up at the station on the weekends, and kind of run calls. But yeah, a lot of us just respond from home.
Yeah, that's interesting. I just didn't know how that worked. I know several like volunteer guys. I've just never like asked them like, hey, what does this look like to you? So like
a second job, a second job that you don't get paid for.
So
it's completely unpaid.
I mean, we get like a stipend, like for runs. So
to cover gas.
You got X amount of runs that you make a year, and then you get like a stipend off that. It's not much, but it's something.
That's intriguing. I've never really thought about that. But
how long were you a volunteer firefighter before you decided to sign up for Guns and Hoses?
Let's see. I got on McCutcheonville in 2014, and then a couple of guys were just like, I had heard about Guns and Hoses, and a couple of guys on the department had fought in it before. My chief had actually fought in it before, and they're just like, dude, you should go do this. And I'm like, I don't know, man, And then I started to go down. They're just like, oh, just come down to the gym, So I started to go down there in 2017 and train started to train for it with the guys down there. And dude, boxing is I
enjoyed fighting younger.
I was a fighter. Yeah. I like to get fucked. I like to get messed up and fight, you know,
Right.
that was part of my downfall, you know, with the going back to
The
the
angst
like getting in trouble and all
Yeah.
that stuff. But yeah, I used to like to drink and fight. But like barroom fist, like bare knuckle, you know,
Right.
fighting, which I was pretty good at.
Much different than boxing.
Holy shit.
It's a sport. It's a sport for a reason.
There's technique.
Cardio.
Yeah, dude. It was a whole different
15 rounds.
cardio.
Do you do 15 rounds in Guns and Hoses?
No, absolutely not.
12 rounds?
Yeah, we're like on the amateur charity boxing level. So we do 1 minute rounds, and there's three
That's
1
it?
minute rounds.
That's not bad. That's like cage fighting
It
almost.
sounds not bad.
But a minute's
when
a
I
long
started
time.
going down there, they would like turn the timer on for like a minute and a half, right? And I'm getting in there with these guys that, if, you know, like some of these are
Been doing Guns
some
and
of
Hoses
the
for the
coaches
last
down
few
there
years.
were golden gloves, like they'd fought in golden gloves.
Oh,
So
for sure.
I'm getting in there and I'm just like, dude, like 45 seconds into a round, I'm fucking gassed.
Yeah.
I'm gassed and my hands are down there just fucking cleaning my clock. I'm like, shit, man, maybe this isn't for me.
Are you a runner? Are you an avid runner at this point?
I fucking hated running.
But were
I
you
was
were you
terrible.
running a lot at this point in time?
I was lifting weights. So I had gotten once around like the time I started, once I got off my probationary period, like I was drinking really heavy. I was really drinking heavy,
Especially seeing suicides and stuff like that.
It was before that.
Oh.
It was way before that. Like
Carry over from your youth.
Yeah.
Is what I think we were
Yeah.
kind of leading into. But
Yeah.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, if I saw some brains blown out, I probably would pick up.
it's definitely not going to help you quit.
it's like I had quit everything else, all the other, you know, the
BS.
all the
Yeah.
other stuff, and like I, you know, progressively continued to drink,
like
harder.
probably almost compensating more with
Correct.
alcohol than
Yeah.
like, well, I can't smoke weed anymore, or I can't do
Yeah.
coke anymore, or whatever. It's like I'll just start
pounding.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Pounding,
exactly.
You know, and I
It's
had
way easier.
I had gotten off beer just because all it did was make me bloated.
Weight, yeah.
All it did
weight.
was make me bloated, and I could drink fucking 30 of them and not,
Right.
you know, get where I needed to be. So then it was whiskey, you know, I got to the point. I got to the point where like 90 proof shit, like my Jack Daniels and my Jameson, just wasn't doing it, you know. And so I had found somebody that was, you know,
making moonshine.
yeah, making some fucking mason jar shit, you know, some hooch, and it was like, you know,
Good
it was
shit.
where I needed to be.
Take
But
a sip of it.
dude,
You
I
lose
was-
vision out of your left eye for a second.
Yeah, dude, I
was. You know,
I was drinking like 2 jars of that a week.
fuck,
know,
dude. That's
Or-
dark.
You know, so, but like nobody knew this. The only person that knew it was my wife,
Right.
you know, and she was at the time, she's quit with me, you know, but at the
awesome.
time she was Crown Royal, and she drank Crown Royal straight, and she could, you've seen my wife.
Yeah.
She's a tiny little thing.
Y'all
She
are like
could
the
put-
perfect match,
Bro,
too.
she could put down some frickin' whiskey.
That's what's
she
up,
could put
man.
down some whiskey.
Mad respect.
But it got to a point where, you know, I went out and I was on my way home, and I was literally in my subdivision, and I don't know if I blacked out the wheel, passed out or whatever, but crashed my truck. Long story short, you know, ended up basically calling the cops on myself because I didn't want it like
Like a hit and run. Or
yeah, bro.
something.
I ran home. And you know, the funny thing about the story is, like, you know, I didn't have my keys. They were still in my truck. That was like the front wheel was off of. Like I had hit like
Damn.
one of those brick mailboxes.
Oh,
And if you've seen the construction, I was like, they don't fucking move.
Yeah, they don't
All
move.
it did was like knock it off of its base and flip it over, and like the whole left side of my truck was anyway. So I
Annihilated.
ran through the yards to my house, pounding on the fucking door. You know, it's like 3 something in the morning, and my wife comes down, and I've got like the airbag went off, and I didn't have my seatbelt on, and of course I got like airbag rash all over my face.
yeah.
Well, she's fucking cracking up because she's like, you fucking mouthed off to somebody at the bar and got your ass kicked, didn't you? So she's like cracking up, and I just start bawling, dude. I'm like, it's so much worse. It's so much worse. Told her what happened, you know, and I'm just like, I can't run from this. I was
Right.
like, I'm going to jail tonight, and went back and I called 911, told them, you know, I had property damage, wreck, and I hit a mailbox, and Yeah, so that started that process. I went to jail that night, and I needed to get some help. So they have like a drug and alcohol deference program here in Evansville. Right. So I looked at that. I was looking for not only a way to kind of lessen the blow of the DUI,
but to legitimately help yourself.
Correct.
Just to find an alternative.
I knew I was at a point where I needed help.
Right.
Because I had quit drinking. Like in Illinois, we had we had quit drinking for like a year because we had some fucking nights where me and my wife were like, holy shit, dude. Like we need to quit.
Right.
drinking.
Like I don't know if I'm gonna see tomorrow if I keep this up.
Right. We needed to quit. It was just getting to a point, and then we just like, oh, I'm okay now. I quit for a year, so we started drinking again, and it was like like every other alcoholic you talk to, same thing. Like,
I can quit anytime.
I'm back to the same within a week's time.
Right. It's weird how fast your body can like react to certain things. Like, okay, let's say that I just like quit working out for a year, and then like boom, I come back to it, and yeah, it sucks right away. But like I pick up way faster than somebody that's never worked out at an intense level in their entire life. Like I pick up almost the muscle memory, right? And it's the same thing with like drinking too, because I've done a fair amount of stint without alcohol, and then I've done a fair amount of stint without nicotine as well. And like it's really weird how you can leave something for so long and then just like come back to it, and you're like, boom, I'm good, dude. It's like 2 months, and you're like, I'm back to where I'm, back to where I'm at. And it's scary, dude. It is scary. And I think it's an important note to make that, like, you always see the advertisement, like, please drink responsibly. Like, seriously, drink responsibly. It's not something you should depend on. It should be something that, it should be a mood enhancer, not a mood stabilizer. You don't need it to, like, you know what I mean? But for someone like you, who probably genetically is dispositioned to be, it probably runs through your family.
It does.
So, like, someone like you probably just, like, stay the fuck away from it. You know what I mean? So, it's wild to think about how our bodies are. But, I don't know, man.
Well, I was going to say, what was it like training for, Guns and Hoses? We had Mike Kennedy on who did Guns and Hoses. He actually did it twice. But I was going to say, like, when you're training with these Golden Gloves, like, I've been obsessed here lately with, like, these boxers and their jump rope game. And like how they do all the crazy stuff. Like,
I don't even do that. I don't even fuck with the jump rope stuff. But yeah, I mean that's like the DUI stuff, like and the quitting drinking. That got me into like what part of the program was to I had to go to AA. Like I literally had to go to meetings. And of course I was just like, dude, fuck this. This is fucking stupid. I don't want to do this. But I'll go through the motions to get through. The
class of the course,
whatever they needed me to do. And it ended up like sticking. Like it helped. I don't think if I wouldn't have been forced to go to AA by the courts, I think I'd still be.
I have a question.
I'd still be drinking.
I have a good question about AA. You're a very not religious fella. Which, speaking of by the way, can I have a?
Dude,
yeah, I got you.
If you're about to ask me about step 3, I had a big fucking problem with step 3.
No. I just the whole process, right, is very like. Thank you. The whole process is very like based around. You could argue Christianity in general, but or Christianity specifically, but just religion in general. The whole AA process. You know what I mean? It's like very spiritual, very, very like prayer driven. So like,
it depends on what meetings you're going to, right?
What did that look like?
You know what I mean? Because there was a lot of they would always always end the meetings with a prayer. Everybody gets up and holds hands, the old kumbaya fucking bullshit. Whatever. But when I got a sponsor and started to work the steps, like we just would go back and forth on the
religion aspect,
higher power, because that's the big book talks about higher power. It doesn't necessarily. It's whatever your higher power is, basically. Which for some people, is the Jesus thing,
and some people it's Pantera,
right,
or Jimmy Page,
and it sounds stupid, but my sponsor's like, dude, just like you're not that. Do you not believe that anything out there is above you? Like that's where you got to stop your thinking.
Yeah, aliens.
You get right.
Aliens.
Yeah, what are you talking about in the sky? Or
yeah. We don't need to go that direction, but
so but yeah. AA got me. It got me sober, man, and it really stuck.
Well, I was gonna say,
what brought that up was every time we open a beer on the show, we say "God bless you."
God bless you. But I was gonna say, like, there was a point in time, where like I was done. I wanted to throw in the towel, and everything, and I ended up found myself in Brentwood, and like through Brentwood and 3 years of extensive therapy outside of Brentwood, I learned what I call checks and balances. You know what I mean? Like if something's going to set you off and you're going to get angry and yell, you know what I mean? Like I get that slight moment where it's like, is this worth it? You know what I mean? Or like this internal voice or, check and balance, like I said, that like kind of sets the course differently. And through there is where I found, like physical activity helps burn off so much of that extra angst or, stuff along those lines.
So I needed to get my shit together with that. So during this program, like I had taken a break from the department. But I had met some really solid people
that generally cared about
through the department.
Right.
Because the fire service is, it is a brotherhood, man. Them guys care. They care deeply. Anybody who's willing to run into houses on fire and save complete strangers, right, is there's something good to them. So through that, there was a couple of guys and another guy on another county department, and they're just like, dude, just start coming to the gym with us, man. And so I started going to the gym with him, and honestly, the dude, like, it was, we're still really, really good friends. I just went to his wedding recently, but yeah, man. That's where I started the workout process. So I had to fill that void that alcohol had, right, and do something else, right? Because I'm antsy. I got to be.
It takes up a lot of your time.
Yeah,
like when you
I got to be
drink,
doing shit.
Yeah, when you drink, you can go on a 10-hour sprint.
Oh yeah,
or a 10-hour stint, if you will.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, it takes up a lot of time.
So I'm like, well, fuck it, I'm gonna, it's. I have an addictive personality, anyways. Right. So I'm like, well, I just started getting into working out, and so we'd go to the gym, almost every morning, and then on the weekends and stuff like that, and just kind of progress from there.
When do we start trail running? Because I gotta.
Well, I want to ask about guns and hoses before we get into that.
Yeah, how did you do in the fight itself? I want to know that. Did you win or did you lose?
Yeah, my first bout, my first fight was 2018.
You remember the guy's name?
Yeah, he's actually he's an EPD officer, really nice guy.
Was it like a throwback to you of like your youth and you're like, fuck the police, you know what I mean? Like that extra.
Oh, and I have a really good quote after this I want to give to you guys.
There's a good story with that too, because
But you won. You won. So
I did. It was like 17 seconds. I TKO'd him, put him almost through the ropes, almost knocked him out of the ring with a left hook, man.
Are you left-handed?
I am not.
You got a heavy right hand?
I do.
Damn. And you put him out with the lefty?
Yeah, I got a pretty decent.
Or izquierda in Espanol? For my Hispanic listeners out there, check it. Love you.
I found out that I had a decent left hook.
That's awesome.
But I had good trainers, man. So
you probably got a strong left lat. I bet your left lat is bigger than your right lat.
It's possible. I have no idea,
dude. I
have no idea, man.
I have a fun quote real quick that I heard from Mike Tyson on. He's like 90 years old, right? But he's still. I would not walk into the same.
Hell no.
I would not walk into the same room as him. He terrifies me. But he had a very good quote that I saw on IG not too long ago, and it was, "Not everybody you fight is your enemy, and not everybody that helps you is your friend." So remember that, guys. And like you said, the guy's a really nice fella. There's been so many times I've gotten in a fight with somebody, and I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, "Sup, dude? Like, we good?" You know what I mean? And you're just like tight afterwards, and it's such a true thing. It's like, yeah, most of the people that we fight, there's genuine disdain for, but like, that's not always the case. So interesting to hear that you said that, like, he was a really nice guy.
Well, awesome. And even in the years after that, I'm like, dude, don't tell me nothing about my opponents. Like, don't tell me they're like, don't give me all these feel good fucking stories, because I got to go out there and punch this dude in the face. And if you tell me like all this like sentimental
or something.
This sentimental shit, dude, it's gonna be hard for me to perform.
Yeah, dude, his fucking wife's got scoliosis. Like, fuck, dude. I can't beat his ass in front of his wife.
That's the biggest part of that is like it's great to get out there in front of the crowds and and show out for them. But the big thing about that event is it's huge here in Evansville.
Oh, yeah. And they raise so much money.
Oh my gosh,
dude.
and the charity that goes to help disabled kids is phenomenal.
It's fucking dope.
And the people on the board that run that foundation are amazing people.
And the fact that like it's so much more than a like it's not more than a charity. Like the charity is the main derivative, but like how serious like guys are going to gyms and training and like really trying. You're trying to like really beat another dude's ass like in front of a lot of people. Like you're trying to. It's like a legitimate fight. It's not just like a bunch of like overweight dudes like fucking slapping each other around.
Well,
it's genuine fighting.
Like the event has been going on. I'm
a long
blanking.
time.
I'm blanking on the date when the first Guns and Hoses was, but
more than 10
at
years
least
ago.
10 years.
So,
More than 10 years.
This will be the 16th or 16th year of it. But it started off in like a small venue.
Right.
I can't remember.
Like the Coliseum or some shit.
Yeah, I think that's where it was at. But such a small event, and to grow to like where we're at now with it, almost like
at the Ford
selling
Center.
out the frickin' Ford Center,
which is like 2,500 seats or 3,000 seats. It's a lot of folks in there.
It's a huge event. So like, and that's like the community loves it. Like it's probably the biggest event in Evansville every year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's because everybody like, oh, I want to go see my buddy. It's like, it's such a big city. Like it's a relatively large city, but like
it's like a big small town.
It has such a small town vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh, dude's from the West Side, bro. We gotta represent.
Right.
He drinks ski and Busch Light. You know what I'm saying? Like he's from the West Side.
Well, I was
bro.
gonna even say what was it like? Never really being on stage before, and then being on stage in front of thousands of people.
To be honest with you, I didn't have any like anxiety about that. I just didn't want to get fucking knocked out in the ring.
front of all
You know
your
what I mean?
buddies.
That was the anxiety that you had, like because fights are boxing and fights in general, like
Chess match.
it
Did you
doesn't
blur
matter.
out?
Like all it takes is one shot.
Did you blur out? A lot of my buddies that I've had a couple buddies fight amateur cage fighting, so MMA, but they blurred out. Both of them, they said like in my first fight, like everything went quiet, like the crowd turned into like a murmur, and then like I almost didn't see the guy. Like,
see, it wasn't that like.
Did you blur out though?
But you don't like once you get in the ring, like when you're doing the walk in song and shit, like you're like, oh, this is
you're
it's
fucking
great.
amped.
Then you notice everybody, but like once you get in the
Honed
ring,
in.
like all you notice is who's across from you,
Right.
and that's kind of what you
hone in on.
Yes, and like during the fight, people are probably screaming, like, but you don't
even
hear
notice.
any of that.
It's
noise.
so weird how your brain just
Shuts
like
it off.
You're like threat, and your
Yes.
brain is just like threat.
Yes.
Everything else fucking auxiliary threat. It's so fucking weird, dude. I can't like if you've ever played like a big Friday Night Lights football game, like it's the same thing. Like you're just like activity, like right now, right here. It's so weird.
Yeah,
your
you
brain is a weird thing. We need to get from boxing though to trail running. When do we make this transition? How did we get to fucking You hate running. How do you?
I do.
How do you get to like doing?
fucking
Are you doing
hate running.
ultras?
I hate cardio. So
Have you done an ultra?
There's a guy that we did the Ragnar with, which is like a 24-hour
So that's an ultra.
a trail race. No,
It's more so like a charity,
it's like the one we did in Kentucky was like a 15.1 total, but there's
Mile or
there's,
K?
Mile.
Okay.
But there's 3 loops. So you got a team of 8. And each person has to run all 3 loops.
Oh, okay.
In a 24-hour period. So you go up the day it starts and like you'll camp overnight, but you got to get all 8 guys through.
What town's this in Kentucky?
Fucking Fort Knox.
Okay.
Fort Knox or
Regardless,
something
I was just curious if you remembered.
Yeah, it's I can't remember the state
I
park.
wish
I can't
Evansville
remember
did
the
more
state,
events
state
like this.
park's name, but the trails were really cool. But anyways, so during boxing, there was a captain on EFD that started to come down and train like I think the second year that I had been that I was going to have a fight, second or third year. And we just, I was on fitness level, and he's like a crazy fitness guy too.
Yeah.
And he had been doing the Ragnar every year with a team, and some of his guys, like we had run the SWAT challenge. I had run the SWAT challenge with him a couple of times, and some of his regular guys.
The SWAT challenge is a 5K, right?
Yeah, it's like an obstacle course.
Yeah, it's like a Tough Mudder, but 5K.
Yeah.
Yeah, a 3-mile run or something.
Which breaks up the monotony of run on the road, which is why I like it.
Yeah, yeah, I feel you.
So I did pretty well with that and stayed up with those guys, and some of his normal guys that he had went down and done the Ragnar with weren't going to be able to make it.
So he talks you into it.
He contacted me, and I'm like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it.
You're already running a little
sounds like
bit.
A blast. I'd been doing cardio
because you have to for boxing.
For boxing, and you got to stay fit to be a fireman, dude.
It's not easy.
It is.
You got to be able to breathe.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I had been doing like some strength training, circuit workouts and stuff like that.
HIIT and circuit, just cardio lifting type stuff.
Yep.
So what was the transition hard to go straight from like high intensity, anaerobic workouts, or like the I don't know, whatever you want to call those circuit trainings, to just strictly running? Was that transition hard to go to the Ragnar?
I didn't want to train for the Ragnar, but I was like, dude, I started looking, he's like, here's the website for it. And I started looking at trails, and I'm just like, he's like, we run the Audubon, out the Audubon State Park. There's some trails out there. He's like, we're out there almost every weekend. And I knew they had been running out there for a while.
Yeah.
And when I committed to it, he's like, all right, man, you got to start coming over to the Audubon with me on the weekends, and
wasn't even an option. He was like, "Yeah, I expect to see you out there."
Yeah, he did. But then I was like, "Yeah, man, I'll try to make it out there." And then it's like a couple weeks go by, and I hadn't been out there yet. And finally, he's like, "Hey, dude, I'm going. You need to really start
showing the fuck
yeah."
up.
So I was like, "All right. I don't have anything going on. I'll meet you out there." And of course, the first run,
fucking terrible.
Oh, it was fucking terrible, dude. It's like the loop that they do is like the longest section of that trail run out there, and it's like 3.3 miles or something like that. And
so what gear are you rocking at this point? Because we were talking about Solomon's earlier, and how,
I'm just like running in fucking my regular like running,
like trainers,
yeah,
like Adidas.
Yeah, I had no idea about trail running, and he's like. They're like, dude, you got to get some trail shoes, man, because you're gonna bust your ass. Like you're gonna fucking fall down a hill or something,
your
man.
Damn foot up, dude.
Yeah, because they're like, it's a whole different animal, like So you're probably gonna be sore in some places that you are not used to being sore in because of the way you have to place your feet.
Oh yeah.
You're either going downhill and inclines, so
different parts of your
gain,
knee,
elevation drop, and trying to figure out a pace to where you didn't like peter out, going up the hill.
What's the longest trail run you've done so far? Not even like competitively or just like recreationally. What's the farthest you've ran on trail?
That Ragnar race, the Red Loop is a 6.9 miles.
That's the longest.
That was it.
Have you ran anything longer than 6.9 miles? Really?
No, that was the longest I had ever ran in continuous.
So that's like, that's almost like a quarter marathon. And like being on a trail, that's like, he called me a pavement princess. You know what I mean? Speaking of princesses, this guy can't hold his damn bladder. Come on back over by daddy. Come on back over here, dude. No, but I find it intriguing because like I would because you're a trail runner, I'd be interested to see like how well you would do on pavement. Like competitively.
I do pretty good. Like I can run. Like my 5K average time is probably in like the 21, 22 minutes.
What's that mile wise? I don't know. Like
it's like 3.1. Like a 5K.
No, I mean your pace though. Like what's your pace?
Oh shit, I don't know.
21.
I don't really.
That's solid. I mean, if a 5K under 30 minutes is, in my mind, decent.
Yeah, I'm really not sure what.
If I'm running so I did 2.8, 2.9.
A 5K is like an eighth, right? Like 3.5.
It's like 3.1.
Okay.
Yeah, 3. It's like just over 3 miles. But I did like 2.8 the other day. So around Mater Day, there's what they call the loop. If you're, what I'm talking, never heard of it. But it basically just goes around the golf park. around whatever house that is on St. Joe in Maryland. 3, the firehouse on St. Joe in Maryland, right down the road.
Threes, yeah,
whatever that is. But it goes kind of from that house all the way around the golf park and then back to where we are right here. Like my house sits on the loop. But that's 2.8, and I did that at like an 8.5 minute pace, and I thought I was gonna die.
No, I mean that's a pretty good pace.
I was gonna say
for a 5K, it's really good.
I'd be interesting. You don't wear any smart tech, like any Apple Watch,
biometric stuff.
Fitness. No, you don't pay attention to any of that. Like
my heart rate and all that shit.
Right.
Like people get really into that stuff. Like I gauge it on like how
worn out you are.
Right.
Really.
How hard I'm breathing.
Really?
If I can catch my breath.
Are you big on nose breathing, or do you breathe through your mouth?
So I do have a deviated septum, so I don't breathe out of my nose, in and out of my nose that well. So I am definitely more of a mouth breather.
Hey, that's fair, dude. I'm in the infantry. Yeah, mouth breather since day one, dude.
Took a couple beer. The worst. Like it was from a beer bottle. I took a fucking beer bottle to the face. And,
damn, dude.
It was like you can probably see like.
Oh, there's a little notch cut out there.
Yeah.
I got a buddy that he gave a beer mug to somebody in El Paso, Texas. Dark times, dude. A lot of cholos down there, you know what I'm saying? Slinging those fucking drugs. I'm serious, dude. You get down to El Paso, there's a lot of
I got a buddy who lives in Texas.
Where at?
He's just right outside of Houston.
Dude, once you get close to that border, bro, it's fucking poodles, chihuahuas. They don't give a fuck, dude. They're just goddamn slinging that coke, dude. They don't give a fuck, dude. It gets dicey.
Cocaine just became 100% legal in Colombia.
Fuck.
Anyways, Mike.
Good news for us.
Yeah. Weird cliff note.
I was gonna say, what's upcoming for you? Like, what's next on the agenda?
What do you got coming up in October or something?
Yeah, I mean, so I'm relatively I'm a novice at trail running. Like there some of the guys that I go with, like that did the Ragnar, and they've been running trails for a long time, and they're like they can smoke me on.
They just lit your ass up.
They can if they wanted to. So like I'll probably end up doing the Ragnar again next year. There's a in Owensboro Beaver Dam State Park. There's a run the ridge, and it's there's 3 options. You can do a 5K, a 25K, or a 50K. And of course, I am stupid and like to torture myself, so I'm like, I need a challenge.
You're not doing 50. You're not doing 50.
Oh fuck no! Okay. I signed up for the 25K. I'm like, I'll go in the middle, like because I'm like a 5K's probably that's not enough for me. It's not enough of a challenge. I mean, depending on the trails. I've never been on the trails over there, so it'll be interested to see.
Right.
To do that.
I'll tell you.
It's like 15.5 miles total.
Sheesh.
So you know where you need to go.
It's going to fucking suck. But.
I'll tell you what. I made the joke earlier about running trails in Afghanistan, but I'm dead fucking serious. I ran some fucking mountain fucking trails in Afghanistan, dude. And the cool thing about Afghanistan is I was like in a valley, and at the lowest part of the valley, like where my base was at, my little cop, we were 11,000 feet above sea level. 11,000 feet above sea level.
So how was your breathing there, bro?
Evansville's like 900 feet above sea level.
Did you feel like you couldn't get a breath?
You can't. You can't train for it. You can't do anything other than like choke yourself while you're running, like here in the States. There's just no way to train for it. If you live in Texas, there's no way to train for that. But then when we would get up in the mountains, these are 3,000 foot mountains. Like, so you're going at 11,000, another 3,000. It's fucking insane. And you're running and getting shot at and shooting back. But I say that I would be interested, like what you should consider if you enjoy the trail running, like, and you keep continuing your adventure, like maybe think about traveling, like go try one out, like in elevation, and just see if you really do like torturing yourself.
Because they're like
you'll want to die.
Like the Ragnar goes, like they do it in a bunch of different states. Like I think like Alaska has one, like Michigan. There's one up in Michigan, one out in Colorado, and I haven't really traveled too far out west, so. Like that would be something definitely that I want to do in the future.
Yeah, dude, it's worth. If you like torturing yourself, elevation will fucking.
I'm constantly looking for a challenge, man. I like to be challenged. You know,
it's weird that like I would lift weights and just burn like at 11,000, like in our gym, like at the camp, I would lift weights and I could just tell like week 1, I was like, God, I'm I'm tired after like 30 minutes when normally in the States I would lift for like 2 hours, like heavy, hard, fast fucking weight, like for a little guy, but like heavy, hard, fast weight. And like 30 minutes in Afghanistan, I was like, your body's just, you're not getting the oxygen that you need.
Right.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. It's so fucking weird.
We had these guys on from Arizona, from the Flagstaff area. They owned.
Shout out to Drinking Horn Meadery, dude.
But one of the guys that runs their socials, he's big on outdoor running, and he like runs the canyon, like the Grand Canyon and all that stuff. And
dude.
I'm like, next time I go out there, I need to try this, but like I'm gonna get smoked. Like I prefer my cardio on a bike, like not foot to pavement. I think I would enjoy trail running because it's not on pavement. It's a little more to see.
It's fun because you have to constantly be, you're looking up to see like where the trail's going,
Cognition.
and you're constantly looking down to see like where my foot placement needs to be. So you're constantly like, my mind's constantly engaged,
right,
versus where I'm like you were talking about that looper you ran earlier.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can just go off into fucking La La Land because like I'm running on a pavement, and I just got
you
nothing
say that.
to, you know what I mean?
You say that, but
I mean, unless there's cars,
you're not
like
worried
you got to
about
dodge and shit like that.
You're not worried about your foot placement necessarily, but like contour does play a role in like these triathlons, like these long runs, marathons, and like longer, anything over 3 miles. Like contour is a big deal. So like, you're not watching your step, but you are like looking ahead, and you're like, fuck, that hill's going to suck.
Right.
Or you're like, okay, I'm downhill. And like, I mean, there's a little bit of cognition, but not nearly what, like, you're not looking for like divots or cuts.
You think you'll switch it up and do try to do a triathlon or anything?
Jesus fucking Christ. That's such a game changer.
I probably not, because I got a bad problem with getting water in my ears, so like the swimming portion of it, like
right.
There's some guys that like a lot of the firemen I know, they dive.
I was gonna say, are they divers?
And they swim and stuff like that. And I tried to go and do some swimming. I'm just like,
it's different.
It's like forced drowning for me.
But dude, it's such a good workout though.
It was.
It will like, break your body down if you go distance.
The workout was good. We had a really good time. I went with them a couple of times.
It's weird to sweat in the water, right? Isn't it weird? Like, I only found that out this year. Like, I swam a little bit in high school for PE class, like for 2 weeks, but like I've never done it like competitively, like really tried to work out in the water.
Yeah, you swim a mile and it's weird.
Yeah, and then you get out and you're like, man, I should be cool right now, but I stink like BO. It's like, I'm sweaty. What the fuck?
Well, it's like the next day, like I had some upper respiratory shit going on, so I could tell I took on water. You know, I could tell I took on water.
You were like training for the SEALs or something.
No, I would. Yeah,
you were drowning yourself. Man.
So, Mike, was there ever a point on this journey, whether it be mechanics or firefighting, that you just wanted to throw in the towel? You were just like, man,
dude, plenty of times.
Fuck this,
What's
done.
the worst one? And then what? And you don't have to give great detail, but like, what was the worst dark moment that you've had? And then what pulled you out of that moment? Whether it be a family member, an item, a thought. Obviously it's not theology for you, but some people it's like religious that pulled me through. But like that kind of anchor that like, all right, I'm going to keep my nose down to the grindstone and keep pushing.
Gosh, man, that's a good question. I mean, the biggest motivation I've got at any given time when I'm just like, I don't even know why I'm doing this, you know? Because everybody gets that. You hit brick walls, man.
Plateaus or burnouts.
Yeah, you just hit brick walls. And I did that in my automotive technology career, probably when I was first starting out, because it was just so much. It was just so much, and they just kind of threw you to the wolves. Like, they just started giving you tickets and stuff, and you're fucking up a bunch of stuff, and I was like, well, maybe this isn't for me, and I didn't want to disappoint, like in that aspect of it. This was before I met my wife, so like I didn't want to disappoint like my dad, and my grandpa, because they were. I come from a family of hardworking men, and they pushed through all kinds of stuff, and sacrificed a bunch to provide for their families.
Right.
And I was like, I got to do it. Like, this is we're at the I got to fucking choose something here, and if I fail at this, where do I go from there?
Right.
What? Okay, so on just to extend off of that, like there's a lot of guys that grow up a lot like like a lot like the three of us. We're all pretty similar. Your family may be a little more hardcore than his or mine or whatever, or vice versa. But did your family, like growing up as a kid, was your dad or your grandfather ever like the suck it up, buttercup, or were they a little bit easier on you, or was it just like,
oh no, I mean,
you know what I mean? Like, was there like a really harsh bring up when it came to like hands on, like failure's not an option,
Right,
or,
like did your grandpa kick a ladder out from underneath you and be like, "Don't trust anybody"?
Jesus Christ.
no,
That's
Your guys' grandpa
homicide.
never did that.
no,
That's homicide.
my grandfather on my dad's side, which is who owned the farm, and that's where I spent a lot. They were just outside of Tovey, but I mean, he wasn't a really like affectionate, just like most guys from that era. They're not real affectionate,
Yeah, good job, kid.
Yeah, it was like you got a pat on the back, that kind of stuff. And my dad was encouraging, but I was also I was fucking up. So like he was really hard about that kind of stuff.
He was hard on you about it.
Yes, very, very hard on me, which, it probably pushed me farther into the depths of that depravity that I was involved in. But
do you think going through all that stuff younger, like, makes you, I don't know, want to push harder now?
I just think that it gave me a lot of life experience, and honestly, I mean, without going through all that stuff, I probably wouldn't be the person that I am today. All of that stuff.
Hard-willed.
Yeah, like I don't have regrets. Like, I never really, it's not like I fucking killed anybody or anything like that, but I don't have any regrets about it, just because when I look back, like that molded me into
the man you are today.
Who I am today.
Right.
I have a good one to wrap up on. So somebody might be listening to this. So like we drink on the show. A lot of the people that listen to this like to have a casual drink or whatever. Some guys more than casual. But what advice do you have for an individual that probably doesn't realize that they have a problem? You know what I mean? How do you notice it before you smash into a brick wall, or in your case, a brick mailbox? How do you correct behavior? How can you tell that like this is genetic and I, in fact, maybe don't have a problem, but it's a problem. I don't have a problem, but the drinking is a problem. Like, what's your advice to somebody that's like drinking 6-7 nights a week, way too heavily?
Yeah, like I'll tell you what,
they're in no trouble. They've not gotten a DUI or anything, but like it's too much. What's your advice?
Here's how I knew before, and there was plenty of signs. Like looking back on it, like oh shit, there's a sign when I should have known. Like, hey, this is a problem. Like if you like got a bunch of buddies and they're like, after work, hey, we're gonna go have a drink and dinner, right? After work, and you go to the dinner and you're just pounding like everybody else has had like 1 or 2 drinks,
right?
And that's it, right? They eat their dinner, they have their 1 or 2 drinks, but you're like 3-4 drinks in, and then everybody's like, "All right, I'm going home. We got work in the morning, right?" But you're stopping by, like you can't stop at that point because you've had those 3 or 4 drinks, like. Right. I could never have like 1 drink and then stop, like go home and just be fine after that, or have 1 drink at home and then shut that off. Like once I started drinking, I drank most of the time. You went
to sleep.
Most of the time I drank to blackout. I drank until I fucking blacked out. I mean, there's a lot of time. It didn't happen every time, but if you can't go out to dinner with your friends and have a drink or 2 and shut it off, like if you have to continue to drink that, or you find that every time you're continuing to drink after that point, you probably have a binge drinking issue.
And I hate that like people that are alcoholics, like they get like when they're approached about it, everyone wants to say like, "Hey man, just fucking say that you have a problem. Like you do have a problem with alcohol." Like it's less of a problem that they own as much as it is just it's like a generic problem. Like I feel like we put too much. We like break these people down. Like when they get attacked is what it really feels like when people give interventions or whatever. Like you're attacking that person. You're like, hey, this is what's wrong with you. When really, most likely, it is nothing to do with the individual. They were born into it. Like genetically, they're just allowed to drink that much. Like their dad drank that much and then their grandfather did, or maybe their dad didn't, but their granddad did, whatever. But like, it's not a problem that you had. It wasn't an issue that you were creating. It was an issue that you inherited. You know what I mean?
It's just so complex. Like
it really is.
Alcoholism and drug addiction is so complex because like
it's the brain.
Like some people are predispositioned.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Genetically wise, but then other people, suffer, some form of trauma.
And then you got to suppress
deep seated that they didn't deal with, and the way they deal with it is either drugs or alcohol, and it becomes a problem. There's just so much. There's so much of a complexity to it, and people don't want to. I mean, especially for me, I didn't want to admit that there was something wrong with me.
All right, I understand.
You know what I mean? So,
well, you're a better man for it now, though.
Yeah, dude. I like. There's so much.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons I like when I reached out to you to come on the show. Like I look up to you, you know what I mean? Like from seeing, you back at the shop, you know what I mean? And like I said, being afraid to approach you or whatever, like even back then I looked up to you, but then like now, since the gap that it's been a long time, you know what I mean? Like to see you go from like this angsty mechanic, that everybody like viewed you as, like an angsty, mechanic or whatever, and then to like you're giving back to your community, you're into fitness, you stop the booze, like you're giving back, you know what I mean? And that like, but like
the booze,
but like it's seriously like it like I saw the difference, you know what I mean? But at the same point in time, like you're the shit, man. You know what I mean? Like
thanks,
to me,
man. I appreciate those kind words.
Well, like I just wish that like when I get 10 years older, I wish I could be half the man you are, in my mind.
Dude, think about where you started out at though at the dealership.
Right.
In detail, right? You were a fucking mess of a kid, dude.
Oh, yeah.
You were, and look at you're fucking killing it now.
Yeah, dude, he's snapping dicks on the reg, dude. You know what I'm saying? He is, dude. He's fucking crushing ass, dude. Not literally. He's got a happy girlfriend, but I'm saying he's just like he's murdering life. Also, not physically. He's not murdered anybody, but like,
dude, I used to just not, unless you were one of my closer friends, I didn't like put that much
invest that much in
into like
people.
Into you, like, oh, you're doing great things, man.
That's Dave. Fuck
now
him.
And now, like, it doesn't matter who you are. I could have never met you before, but just like seeing your progress on social media or whatever, dude, I just love seeing people fucking kill it, man.
Yeah, he's murdering it.
Love seeing people fucking kill it.
Well, as we wrap up, what advice do you have for somebody that wants to get into volunteer firefighting? Essentially,
I mean, research it. Research it and go talk to your local fire station, the people there, and just kind of engage them and have them kind of let you know kind of what it's all about.
Can you do a ride along? Like with
EPD,
yeah. Can you do a EFD ride along?
EPD definitely you can do a ride along with. I'm not for sure how EFD's policy is on that necessarily.
But look into stuff like that.
In the volunteer fire service or a combination department where there's career and volunteer staff, we definitely have those programs. You just need to go to your local fire station there that's in your community and reach out to them and you tell them you're interested in it and sign a waiver and
and then last minute shout outs. Who's got you to where you're at and who's keeping you to where you're going?
My main drive is my wife and daughters, so without my wife, I would probably be a completely different person, to be honest.
Sounds like a great woman, dude. The two of you together.
She's phenomenal. She's phenomenal.
Quitting the BS, and you got these beautiful daughters.
She's my biggest supporter, along with my girls. And all my girls, man.
Honestly, Tom, I say he's snapping dicks, but honestly, it sounds like you snapped a lot more dicks. Dude, so just like, just thank you first and foremost for your time. Because, 2 hours out of your day, you could be doing anything other than talking to a couple of
I should be sweating my balls off mowing the grass right now. So
I just knocked mine out, dude. But but just thank you for first and foremost for your time, and then also thank you for like sharing as much as you did. I know like some people are kind of closed off, and
your firefighter service.
It's not that easy, yeah. And thank you for your civil service. Like that's much appreciated. So you're helping folks out and you're saving lives, really. But yeah, I mean, as we come to a close, man, I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, man. It's been thanks for having me on.
Yeah,
guys.
this has been another thrilling.
It's been fun, dude.
This has been another thrilling episode of the Days Grimm. My name is Brian Michael Day.
My name is Thomas Grimm. Thanks again, Mike Smith.
Michael Smith, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Looks good. What the fuck? You gonna do mushrooms? Dude, he's gonna fucking. Like, I would wait for the weekend. He's like, I'm gonna just knock it out on a Wednesday. I've had those.
Hey guys, if you liked what you heard today, there will be a new episode next Tuesday, as well as every Tuesday at 6 a.m. So hit that subscribe button and let your phone do all the work for you.